Chicken Graham here with another episode of the Chicken Experience. Welcome back. Recently I have had the flu. I got sick, was out a couple days, had to call in work, had to take a bunch of NyQuil and Dayquil and cough medicine. Didn't feel too great. But if I can get sick, my birds can get sick too. So we're going to talk about coccidiosis, salmonella, avian flu, fowl cholera, and Marek's disease. Ways to prevent, ways you get it, and ways to get over it. So stick with me. So recently I had the flu. I had a 101 degree temperature, got a little sick, wasn't too nauseated, but was congested, wasn't feeling too great. It is cold and flu season. We're getting over it a little bit right now, but if I can get sick, my birds can get sick. If my birds get sick, they can get me sick. So there are certain things to watch out for. One of the first things that we're going to talk about is the Marek's disease. Marek's disease is a virus caused by the herpes virus. It is a neoplastic virus which causes tumors to grow. They can grow in the eyeballs. It causes lesions on the skin, subcutaneous lesions near where the feather follicles are. The herpes virus can be hidden with vaccinations. The Marek's vaccination can hide the symptoms, but it doesn't mean it's not transmittable. So you as a human can have herpes and not have any type of signs that you have it, but you can still give it to somebody else. And once you have it, you're a lifelong carrier. Once the chickens have it, they are lifelong carriers of the Marek's disease. Okay, in the 1900s, early 1900s, 1907, Joseph Marek, a Hungarian veterinarian, started studying this disease, and so it's named after him. Around that time, there was about only one strain of this disease. In the 1970s, they started making vaccines for this disease, and so it has mutated, and currently there are about 6 strains of this disease. It's MDV, and then turkeys also have a form of this disease themselves. It is not transmittable between the two birds. I believe that's what I read. I could be wrong. We'll fact check this later and I can get back to you. But I do believe if a turkey has a turkey herpes and chickens have a chicken herpes, they're not going to have turkey herpes. Chickens are immune to this a couple days after hatching due to the antibodies that they are naturally born with. Once those antibodies wear off, they can become susceptible to coming down with Marek's disease. Marek's disease is spread through chicken dander from the skin and the dust and everything that comes off the chicken with the feathers, and then the birds breathe it in. They come down with the chicken herpes, Marek's disease. How do you catch it, you ask? The virus is primarily spread through infected dander, which is dead skin cells from other birds. Okay. It can be transported with dirty hand carriers. It can be on clothing and boots. You can take it from one coop to another. Wild birds can come in and give it to your birds, or collect it and take it to somebody else. And by darkling beetles in the hen house. It can survive up to 65 weeks in ambient temperatures in the coop and 4 years in soil. If that's the case, if my birds came down with Marek's disease and it wiped out my flock, I probably wouldn't use that coop anymore, or that ground. The virus is spread horizontally. That is from chicken to chicken, not from hen to egg. So the virus will spread quicker among hens in tight living conditions. So make sure your hens have enough room. Breathing down each other's necks. Okay, primary age of disease manifestation is between 5 and 25 weeks. but it does not mean that older birds will not suffer from it. It just means that younger birds are more susceptible. Alright, so some of the information that I got on Marek's disease was from the happycoop.com, showing you my sources, and also Wikipedia. I also have a couple other books that I got some of my information from, which is How to Raise Your Chickens, Proven Techniques for Keeping Healthy Chickens. I do have a bunch of resources, so I'm not making this stuff up, I'm just researching it as I go. So I'm gonna give a shout out to thehappycoop.com, Wikipedia, and the 2 books that I named.
Alright, so the next disease we're gonna talk about is fowl cholera, or pasteurellosis. Okay, and some of the information I got here, I got from the poultrysite.com. Alright, as part of it, and the other website I got is the merckvetmanual.com. Fowl cholera is a highly serious, highly contagious disease caused by the bacterium Pasteurella multicida. It can get your turkeys, can get your chickens, can get your waterfowl, your ducks, and your geese. So if you have those, there's a higher chance of transmission amongst birds. Okay. It is seen worldwide as one of the first infectious diseases to be recognized by Louis Pasteur in 1880. The disease can range from acute to chronic, and the morbidity and mortality may be up to 100% of your flock. The infection is oral and nasal, so they'll breathe it and they'll eat it. They can, from their feces, contaminated soil, people can give it to the birds. And the incubation period is 5 to 8 weeks. Bacterium is easily destroyed by environmental factors and disinfectants. Get your Lysol out. Like we just saw with the Marek's disease, it can last up to a year in soil with that one. So your soil, if your chickens get infected with the disease, you're gonna have to move the coop. Okay, clean it out, move the coop, leave the soil, burn it, napalm it, something. Reservoirs of infection may be present in rodents, pigs, cats. So there are symptoms with respiratory issues when your birds have fowl cholera. Certain signs that your birds have it to be dejection, ruffled feathers. I get a little ruffled feathers when I get mad. Loss of appetite, diarrhea, coughing. You ever heard of chicken cough? Nasal, ocular, or oral discharge. Get your chicken some tissue. Swollen and cyanotic wattles and face. So their wattles will swell up on one side, swell up all over. Their face will swell up. Sudden death, swollen joints, or lameness. Your chickens just aren't fun to be around with anymore. So keep an eye out for fowl cholera if your chickens are coughing and dripping and something that looks like they have a cold. Don't be giving them any NyQuil to help them sleep at night, or Dayquil so they can run about during the day. Get them out.
So the next source of information that we also got from the poultry site, it's about salmonella in your birds. Salmonella is a disease caused by 1 or 2 poultry adapted strains of Salmonella bacterium. Okay, Salmonella pylori, Salmonella pylori, if I can say these things right. This is the usual cause of mortality in birds up to 3 weeks in age. Occasionally it can cause losses in adults, usually brown shell egg layers. It affects chickens most commonly, but also infects turkeys, game birds, guinea fowls, sparrows, parrots, ring doves, ostrich, and peafowl. I'm not doing any parrots or ostrich or peafowl. I might do some guinea. Don't know about sparrows, but I'm gonna try some turkey too. It still occurs worldwide in non-commercial poultry, but is now rare in most commercial systems because of the sterilization they keep clean. Morbidity is 10 to 80%. Mortality is increased in stressed, immune compromised flocks and may be up to 100%. The route of infection is oral or via navel yolk. Transmission may be transovarian, may sometimes be associated with cannibalism. So if your birds are eating each other, they might be eating some raw chicken and get some salmonella. The bacterium is fairly resistant in normal climate, surviving months, but it's susceptible to normal disinfectants. So make sure you keep your chicken coops clean. I know that if I let mine go a little too long without changing the litter inside my nesting boxes, then they start to collect poop on the eggshells. And then I got this eggshell that just looks like a giant turd that I have to wash off. That will cause the spread of salmonella, and I don't want to get sick. I've had food poisoning once from chicken. I don't ever want to have it again. So make sure your coop is clean as possible, like fresh litter every now and then. What I mean by litter is your pine shavings, whatever you use in your nesting box, your hay, if that's something you use. Some people look down upon that. Whatever you use, make sure it's clean and not over crapped on. Some of the signs that your chickens give off when they have salmonella are kind of the same as they give off with the fowl cholera. Some of the same signs as the last disease we did. Okay, inappetence, they can get depression. You might want to talk to them. Ruffled feathers, closed eyes, they can be sleeping, but the closed eyes, loud chirping, white diarrhea, vent pasting you get when you have young chickens, pasty butt, gasping for air, and lameness. So keep an eye on your chickens, keep your chicken coop clean. If your chickens can get salmonella, they can spread it to you, which is a food disease that you would get from undercooked foods or contaminated foods as well. So thank you, Poultry Side, for salmonella.